Hannah is Carrie, Jess is Samantha, Marnie is Charlotte, and Shosh is Miranda is the first girls fan theory. Thoughts, says Smexy Bimbo 0606. When I started the series, they say, I had Marnie and Shosh reversed. The others feel fairly obvious. Would love to hear your matches and why. Carrie and Hannah, Samantha and Jessa, Charlotte and Marnie, and Miranda and Shosh. Now, I have some thoughts, and I personally don't think that there is a direct connection because this show was close to Sex and the City. I mean, it was 10 years after, but like it would be kind of crazy to do something that direct right after. And I do also know that Lena based so much of this off of her own life and that she draws inspiration, and I think she's super original. Now, Chris Bliss immediately says Shosh was not Miranda though. Shosh was way more optimistic and naive. I'd say Miranda was more like Ray. I could see that, and I've heard interviews where Shosh has been asked what girl's character she is, and she says that she's Ray. OP says, Ray's definitely a Miranda now that you mention it, haha. Yeah, I don't think there's a direct connection to either of these because I think all the girls are constantly trying to be all of them, and they all have snippets of them. I mean, we had that moment where Shosh was like super promiscuous after she broke up with Ray. So yeah, she had like her Samantha era, and you've even heard her say, she's like, oh my gosh, Jessa, you have Charlotte hair, and sometimes my Samantha comes out, and I like really try to put on my Miranda hat. So I feel like Lena wouldn't reference Sex and the City that much if she just made like a direct copy of them. Another commenter says, I'm not sure you've got Shosh right. I think she's definitely a Carrie at heart, but sometimes Samantha comes out and Escalade Emily tries to put on Miranda. I didn't realize at first they were quoting. Ichi Dorita says, I think it should be a federal crime to compare the Queen with Jessa. Let's see what people say. Felt like a hate crime when I saw it. I feel like because Samantha is so grounded in the fact that she's promiscuous and she has like a lot of mic drop moments where she educates Charlotte and Carrie and Miranda on like the fact that they can be a little bit more like open and free flowing and not emotionally attached, especially Charlotte and Carrie. But I feel like for Jessa, like she has so much addiction behind her, and like yes, you can be like, oh, Samantha is addicted. I don't know if like Samantha is actually an addict though. I don't know. Like I don't know if it's ever gone that deep. I mean, maybe if we like over investigate it, that like maybe she would be. But I feel like Jessa definitely shows a lot more trauma. By the way, if you're liking this so far, my name is Kira. This is Studio Violet, and definitely hit subscribe if you enjoy commentary about pop culture shows like Girls, and let me know if I should do a series on another show too. Coffee Bucks then says, yes, Samantha was the best one. Kind, pleasant, and always had her friends' best interest at heart. Jessa's much more of a Carrie. Ooh, that's a good point. I don't remember if Samantha ever slept with the other girls. I haven't seen Sex and the City in a while. Comment if I'm missing something, but I don't feel like there was anything significant. Definitely not compared to Jessa and Adam. Samula C-word says, Samantha F's married men for fun. I can see the morality issue with Jessa and Samantha, and people are referencing in the book she was so different. I did not read the book. I'm not a huge reader. I am a watcher. Smooshy Mooshy said I would reverse Marnie and Shosh. Let me go back up and look. So Marnie would be Miranda, and Shosh would be Charlotte. Yeah, I do see Shosh as a Charlotte a little bit more, like very naive and innocent. I mean, this is the thing, like I don't agree with this fan theory because I just feel like there are so many more complexities. It's not a direct match. And Brief Lengthiness 75 says, disagree, Marnie and Charlotte both have a deep desire for a traditional path and hetero marriage which drives a lot of their behavior. While Shosh ends up there, she's a lot more open to making unconventional life choices. I think she's just very intense about anything she chooses to do, whether it's going to Japan or getting engaged. She shares this trait with Miranda. Both she and Miranda are also the most prone to getting fed up and snapping at the whole group, and they're both often at the bottom of the totem pole. That's a really great point. They both do have moments where they snap and they're just like, what are we doing? Why are we like this? I mean, if we want to compare apples to oranges, I feel like Marnie has a lot of Carrie in her because there's so much dysfunction on like going back to the same guy and like two-timing people and having all this trauma around guys and things, whereas Marnie's things is like going to fitness classes and like all these crazy Pilates, crazy intense fitness classes. Carrie, it's shoes. So Marnie, it's fitness and guys, and Carrie, it's shoes and guys. But I feel like it's kind of perfect for the time because in the 90s, I feel like fashion was a really huge thing. And then I feel like in the 2010s when this came out. You know, cycling classes and really intense cardio classes were really in. So I think it's just like a reflection of the time. Someone just comments, no. All right. Yeah. Lots of people are saying Shosh and Marnie are mixed up. And Fairy Firelight 91 says, Jessa isn't as funny as Samantha. She's just a black hole, which I do agree with. I am rewatching Girls again, and this watch around, I'm gaining a lot more empathy for Jessa than I have in the past, but I completely agree. So, don't necessarily agree that there is like a direct correlation to this fan theory, but I appreciate it a lot, and I love whoever posted it. I love when people are doing like such deep dives. Fan theory number 2 is by Indian Stanacows. I think Adam might have anger issues, and we got a lot of discourse in anything to do with Adam, so let's continue. There's no other context, but it is the picture of him after he punched in the door when him and Jessa are being physical. They are attacking the building, and there are moments when they're kind of getting in each other's way. And there's a moment where Adam like picks up Jessa and she's flailing, and then she maybe hits him or so. Like there's just, the show is gray. I say it all the time. The show is gray. Would you call it abuse? Would you not call it abuse? Like there's something from both sides. I just want to like bring that to light, because I think that it's always like Adam is this, Adam is that. It's like, yes, he's a dude and he's off and he's violent, but it's like, the people that are with him are usually doing a very similar thing. So I just want to like bring that to light. And if you have any thoughts on that, sound off in the comments. Let's have a conversation. It's really important to show in a show like this that it's not just you're gonna see a person and they're always angry. Like usually the people who are always angry are also the people who are like the most sensitive little flower that you ever did see. And that's kind of this like abuse cycle, if I want to call it abuse, like let's just say that, like that's like that's the cycle right there, is that when we talk about, let's say, like abusive partnerships. If you've ever seen Made with Margaret Qualley, it's on Netflix. It is a multi-part series and it's fantastic. That was the first time I saw Margaret Qualley and I'm like, I love you. It's with the same guy as Voicemails for Isabel, and he plays a completely different person. He is an alcoholic and they're together and they have a kid. You do actually gain empathy for him throughout the show, because even though in the beginning, like he's abusive and he's like throwing things against the wall, you see that he's like a shell of himself because he's struggling with alcoholism. Now, should he be No, he shouldn't. And this is the whole argument with Made, is like, well, did he hit you? Well, no, but he could have. And that's the thing. It's like, do we need to wait for someone to do something like that? No. We should not have to wait. We should not have to be like, well, when they lay a hand on me, let's now talk. Like, that's crazy. Jess is doing something similar, right? Jessa is also throwing things. He's throwing things. And this is the thing. I feel like a lot of people bring up Adam and they don't talk about the partner that they're with. So that's just the conversation I want to bring about here. We saw him with Natalia act very differently, but then like when it went to bed stuff, it's like he was almost used to the way that Hannah was, and that's why she got really turned off, because they have this like weird, thing in bed. It is a very common thing that they might depict it in movies and pop culture, that like, there's the angry guy, he's bad, he's a bad guy. But the reason why Girls is such a fantastic show is like, you're sometimes gonna see him and feel bad for him, but then you're also gonna be like, that was wrong, just like you do with all these other girls. They do awful things and then they do something that's not awful, and you're like rooting for them, and then you're like, you're awful, you're a cheater, you're abusive, you're flashing people, you're assaulting people. Like, there's all this stuff that happens. Cosmic Slaughter 67 says, I personally believe that if your partner can bring it out of you, it was always in you. Adam is the way he is because of Adam, not Jessa or Hannah or anybody else. I also see it was like triggered more by Jessa because she does have an addictive behavior like he does, and so maybe when this was written, it was purposefully written that they were both bringing the same out in each other. And even Jessa said, she's like, we're going to destroy each other. Like, this is not good between us. But I see that point a lot. And Debouch also says, yes, I should clarify because my comment could be read wrong. I'm in no way blaming any of Adam's partners. Oftentimes people like Adam will have that charismatic, gentle side that people fall for. They're dangerous, he's dangerous, and I think the character is well written and illustrates this. He is a very well written character. Oh, someone comments the Here's Johnny gif, and like I did not even think of that. See, that's why this show is so great. And this is one of those moments where I'm just like, was that a direction from Lena being like, oh, put your head in here and do the Here's Johnny thing? Or I know Adam Driver has a lot of He takes matters into his own hands sometimes. Blend Boring Jessica goes, average Tuesday for Adam Sackler. Seriously, though. It's like enchilada night at my parents' house. That is a quote from the show. Big General 9924 says, I'm glad Hannah didn't take him up on the offer to be a father. Definitely would have beaten that kid and Hannah, only a matter of when. But relative Eb1719 goes, he was so good with Caroline's baby. And Big General goes, but we're gonna ignore how he acts at the rest of the series. Deeply troubled person who has severe anger issues. Relative Eb goes back and says, I think your point is valid. His pattern of behavior is concerning, but it was a nice surprise to see how laser focused he got when it came to taking care of that baby. Step on Me Sunflower also says, I don't see that at all. He's definitely not the most stable, but he would not do that to a child. And this is where, like, I'm gonna put in my opinion. You might disagree, and that is okay. I don't think he would do that to a child. I think anger in the show is depicted in a very realistic way. I also think that men are not allowed to be angry anymore. Now, I'm not saying the way Adam was angry was in any way like safe or good, but it was depicted. We're not gonna see in light, airy sitcoms when a man or a woman gets angry. And I know when I get angry, I have thrown things, I have screamed at the top of my lungs, I have said the worst things in the entire world. That can be dangerous, right? And then obviously for people who've had experiences with angry men, which I have, where you're gonna have this guttural trigger, and that's completely okay. And let's keep talking about that. Let's keep talking about how there is a line. And I don't know what the line is, honestly. I just know that in the show, it is shown. I'm not gonna sit here and say it was right or it was wrong. It was shown. His anger was shown. Jessa's anger was shown, and that is something that we don't see a lot. And I'll take it a step further, it was shown, and there was still a side of us, some people, who were rooting for him. That's just the state of what the show was. I'm not saying that was right, I'm not saying that was wrong, I'm just saying that is what it was. That is what happened. For you, it's gonna be different for all of us. What is that line? Where we can say, hey, men should still be allowed to be angry, women should still be allowed to be angry. If we need to break something if we're really angry, when is that safe? When is that not safe, right? I'm not here to say when it's safe or when it's not safe. Do I believe that Adam has anger issues? I don't know. I don't know. This is the first fan theory that I've read that I genuinely don't know, because I think we just need a more holistic view of this. How often does this happen? We don't follow him around 24/7. If we see this is happening to every little thing, there probably is. If we see that this has happened maybe once and maybe it's just highlighted a lot in the scenes, but outside of the scenes it never happens, that's different. I think that I liked how he was with Caroline's baby. I feel like he would have been cute as a dad, but it's a very tricky topic. And I want you to feel free to sound off. And I want this to be a continued conversation. And at the end of the day, this is a show. And the show is here to have conversations and reflect about this. Fan theory number 3 is that the girls are actually pretty earnest, and we're gonna break it down by Bitter Bunny 4. Traits you earnestly admire about the girls. So Hannah, she really admires how true to herself she is. She's refreshingly honest, she's willing to try anything. You'll know exactly where you stand with her, and because of it, she carries few grudges in her life. I don't know if you know exactly where you stand with her. I feel like sometimes she does try to cover things up, but maybe it just doesn't last long. I'm thinking of when she worked at, was it GQ? She worked at that magazine with the snack room, and she's like, I actually don't want to work here. So she actually was very clear about that, but maybe it took her a while. I feel like with Jessa, you see it a little bit more. Shosh, how brave she was to reinvent herself. She has such an underdog vibe early on, but refuses to stay there. The Japan saga was so out of her comfort zone in the best way. Yes, love. I will punctuate that by saying I feel like her growth progression was so much larger than all the other girls because her brain goes so fast and she talks so fast. She actually learned so much. I always say I want to surround myself with people who are light years smarter and more talented than me. I never want to be the best one in the room, not that I ever have been. I want to be in rooms where I'm super challenged. And I think for Shosh, she was in rooms, her friend group with girls who were just older than her. That's really all they had above her. They had like a little bit more life experience. And when it comes to someone who's like 22 versus 25, there's actually a pretty big difference, especially when you're like right out of college and living in New York City. But as soon as she kind of surpassed that, I think, yeah, light years she went above, especially after Japan. And I think all the other girls were just kind of going in their same patterns, and Shosh was engaged. And I mean, who knows if that engagement lasts, but I think the overall picture is that, yeah, she progressed a lot further. Jessa is truly so chic and cool. The selfish side of her doesn't undo that part of her. She has such an intuitive artistry, and she's the only one whose style still looks amazing. Yeah, I'm thinking of like in one of the first episodes of the first season where Hannah is like, oh my God, my parents are cutting me off. And Marnie says, you really need to ask them for a little bit more money. And Jessa's like, I think this is great. Like, you can just be an artist and you don't need money. Now, is that realistic in New York City? No, but you see that she's one of those people who aren't going to crush your dreams. Marnie, hands down, the most supportive friend you could ask for. Yes. All you Marnie haters, I get it. Marnie is awful with men, but she is an amazing friend. She's determined to be there for Hannah. Honestly, I think Hannah can't get to any success in life with no Marnie. Exactly. Now, I manifest a Marnie for all of you guys, sans like all of the crazy men problems she has, like just a healed Marnie with men, but that Marnie friend, like her throwing Hannah's birthday party and just being the best friend to Hannah. And yes, like they weren't living together at the end of season 1 because Hannah was not being responsible. Like Marnie was paying all of their bills. She is a very responsible person. Jessa does really well making quick decisions and taking action in time-sensitive, extremely stressful situations to help her friends, even ones she's not crazy about when everyone else freezes up and doesn't know what to do. Now that is very interestingly a very like neurodivergent trait, because I am engaged to somebody who is neurodivergent. If there's something very urgent, he is so calm. Like for me, if there's something urgent, I just like completely shut down and freeze. And days like today where it's like a soft Monday and I'm not doing anything, I'm like, let me make a video. But for him, it's very challenging because he's like, well, there's nothing pushing me here. But if there was like a robber at our front door, he would know exactly what to do. Jess is the same way. I've also read in a lot of like self-help stuff that the universe rewards speed. So if you know that you want something, speed is your friend here. What's the difference between speed and impulsivity? I don't know. But I can commend Jessa for that. Bland Boring Jessica says, I admire that Hannah's comfortable with her body. She doesn't care if she wears a bikini to the grocery store. Love that. Yes. I don't remember which one it was where Marnie's like, are you sure you can just wear that to the grocery store? I think you need clothes. And Hannah's like, no, it's a beach town. And then she ended up not being able to go in. But I love that so much. ThinkFake1734 says, Marnie knows that friendship takes effort. You have to make plans. You have to help each other and forgive each other. If they're still in each other's lives now, it's because Marnie is organizing monthly Zoom calls. That's true. She was always the gal who was organizing the beach house trip. Even in one of the last episodes when they all find themselves in Shosh's engagement party bathroom, she's like, guys, we can work this out. And noted, she was the only one that was invited to Shosh's engagement party. Jessa was like a last minute thing and Hannah was not invited. ACT Dog says, Hannah genuinely dances like nobody's watching. I love it. I wish I had that kind of confidence. Yes, absolutely. She has so many amazing dance scenes in the show. Dance scenes where she's literally like, she has like a crop top or she's wearing a shirt where you can completely see through it. Like, I just love it so much. That was one of the defining moments, the first watch around, when I'm like, this show is different. This show is different from other shows. Sweeper1985 says, it's weird that Hannah can at times be the absolute rudest and most tone-deaf person in the world, but at other times bizarrely polite and collected. E.g. an American Bitch, where the guy makes himself a coffee and doesn't offer her anything, and she very calmly says she will get herself a water because nobody has offered her a beverage. Or when Natalia's friend is screaming at him to look at what you've done to her, and Hannah's just like, she looks okay to me, very pretty. OP says, I see it as Hannah's the most accepting and open-minded one at heart, but she also has this childish sense that she's the center of the world. It reminds me of when she finds out that Elijah is gay and when she finds out that her dad is gay, both of which she's just like, I'm having an inappropriate reaction to something that like I fully support. I'm like LGBTQ ally. I'm just like having a hard time. And I just love her honesty there. And then she goes and says, I wish you found out you were gay in college. Like, I wish you chose to find find that out in college. Like, just say something ridiculous like that. I completely agree. And I made a video right up here all about how the girls were made to be unlikable because it is a very realistic POV. So definitely check out that next if you want to dive a little bit deeper into it. But I completely agree with this. I know that like we like to complain a lot about the characters, as we should. That's what it's about. Lena's glad that there are conversations out here. I've heard her say it on podcasts. Like this is the point of art, is for people to talk about it. But I do love that there is a little cute little spin on this. It's a little more positive. Fan theory number 4 is that this show grew my confidence as an autistic woman, says Jess the best. I went into the show completely blinded, she said. I just knew there was a quirky, awkward tone. I had no idea would actually have me reflecting on myself and growing my own confidence. I'm 31, I'm autistic ADHD, anxious, self-conscious, often, especially growing up skinny and being overweight as an adult. I'm weird, I'm awkward, but I can be funny and charming. I've been manic pixie dream girl, but the trope is always unrealistic. Hannah's character might be one of the few that nails the reality of a manic pixie dream girl. Over time, I see Hannah's magnetic personality, her unconventional looks have become cute to me, and seeing her put herself out there and be deserving of friends and lovers, but also still having flaws, has made me less hard on myself. I didn't expect the show to have me reflecting on my own worth and thinking, damn, who gives AF if I'm fat or awkward? And yeah, sometimes I get burnt out and go into my own shell, but seeing someone like Hannah do that and just pick herself up is empowering. Now, I have always been very influenced by pop culture, and I feel like when I watch shows like this, I then go through my life and be like, what would Marnie do? I don't know if it's the creator's end goal to make shows that people are thinking about throughout the day, but I would imagine it is. Like, I would imagine it's a great thing for them to hear when people come up and say, hey, I asked myself on the daily, what would Shosh do? Like, that means that these people are really meaningful to them. And I've been doing this since I was younger. And when I really didn't know what my identity when I was younger, I was like, am I a Carly or am I a Sam? Like, do I like to, like, I do love to eat, so I'm kind of like Sam, but would I attack someone with a butter sock? Probably not. I am like a little daintier like Carly. Like, I just identified with all of these characters, and then even Pretty Little Liars, I'd be like, ooh, like I want to dress like Aria, but like I kind of act a little bit like, I want to be nerdy like Spencer, and kind of want to act a little bit like Hannah. Like, it is a reflection of all of us, and ain't it just so fun to see that? Economy Pattern 5872 says, so well put. I often go back to girls in my head when I start to feel insecure about my looks or behavior. It's such a great reminder that women are not perfect, and more importantly, that we don't have to be. I bring this up in my other videos, like, these characters are imperfect. Like, everyone wants to be Jessica Day. Everyone wants to be adorable and funny, right? But a lot of people are like, ooh, I would never want to be a Marnie. Or like, ooh, you're a Jessa, gross. Like, we have such strong opinions. And even going back to Sex and the City, like being like, oh my God, you're a Carrie? Ooh. Because acknowledging that you're one of the characters is also acknowledging that you have faults. And I think it's a really self-aware thing to do. And I love that so much. Like, anyone could be like, I'm a Monica, I'm so organized, right? Isn't that, I don't watch Friends. It's not as obvious when you say that what Monica's flaws are. But when you talk about something like Girls or Sex and the City, you were taking on that character and also saying, yep, I'm a Shosh. I'm a Shosh. Like, we can be annoying. I talk really fast and I have a lot of ideas. No Tarot 6953 says, I'm glad the show offers you that. Hannah Horvath is an objectively pretty awful person. I'm not sure I'd take her as inspirational, but it was refreshing seeing her behave unapologetic. I don't think anything in this show is objective though. I think everything is subjective. And I think when people say things like that, it's great because you have a strong opinion, but people can also disagree with it and say, you know what, I believe something different. OP says, from what I've seen so far, she seems like a nuanced person. Real people do awful things. Exactly. Make mistakes. They have good and bad traits. I didn't say she was my role model. You seem to have missed what I said was confidence boosting, and it's not just unconventional looks. And there's a little bit of discourse here, but I think this is the thing where it's just like, there's no need to argue about it. And that's what I try to do in my comments. There's a lot of people who disagree with me and I'm like, oh my gosh, tell me more. Okay. Like, I'm not going to go back and be like, you're wrong. You know, like, why do that? It's a show. I agree with this. This show has built my own confidence too. I absolutely adore watching all of these different body styles on screen, and especially as I prepare for my wedding, and it's in a year, but I have so many outfits that I'm wearing, and I've had so many members of my family being like, why are you drawing so much attention to yourself? Like, that does not look good at all. And I have learned so much from having to navigate that and watching shows like this where I'm like, I don't care if you don't like it, I'm gonna wear it and I'm gonna love it. Fan theory number 5 by timely reference 957. Hannah's hair was bad, aka the devolution of Hannah's hair. I know it's judgy and superficial, but why oh why did they have to make it so bad? The scene where she cuts her own hair triggered a horrific memory of when I tried to give myself bangs in middle school. Ooh, I cut my hair. I don't remember if it was middle school or elementary school, but it was like half of my haircut, and then I just put it up in a ponytail. Needless to say, it didn't quite turn out like I hoped it would. I mean, didn't we all have a phase where we tried to cut our hair? And again, shows like this are a reflection, and yes, it can be triggering, but sometimes being triggered is okay because you can say, hey, I'm not alone. So I agree, Hannah's hair definitely had some moments, but was it bad? I don't know. Was it needed? Heck yeah, because so many girls go through this too. And the show is called Girls, I mean. Voltaire 2019 says, I think a lot of choices for Hannah's appearance were really brave of Lena to show the quirkiness of the character. However, after reading Famesick, it appears there was pressure from Jenny. Okay, I didn't finish Famesick. Claire 510 says, yes, I've always really admired Lena's choices for how she styled herself as Hannah. Opting for the realism of normal 20-somethings with unflattering clothing, no makeup, and questionable haircuts. I loved that she always seemed super confident in her body and appearance despite the massive criticism she received. And even though she would say things in the show like, I have been 9 pounds overweight my entire life and it is so hard for me. You know, she still has moments where she's self-conscious, but then she can walk out the next day in like a see-through shirt. And I think that's really what confidence is. Like, confidence isn't waking up every day and being like, I am perfect. It's waking up every day and being like, this is how I look. Screw the haters. I'm not gonna let someone say that my engagement dress looks pick-me, and it's going out and just wearing it and having a grand old time, which we see Hannah doing a lot. Outdated Whale Fact says, the pressure from Jenny seemed odd to me, almost like she wanted to see if she could manipulate Lena. I don't think Hannah would have been any less funny if she were thinner. And Diligent Date 705 says, Jenny was like the cool older sister that Lena idolized. If we're to believe the book, for the purpose of the show, she pressured Lena to stay chubby and gain weight so that Hannah was more believable. She was also hot and cold with her, pressured Lena to work when she was ill or had family emergencies. And yeah, this is a big thing. I mean, I'm not in the film industry yet. Hey, casting directors, so ready. But in college, when I majored in theater and even in like acting school in New York City, if you're in a show, you're not going home for Thanksgiving. No, acting class would always run 30 minutes over and you could not make plans. No, you can't. Acting class comes first. You're going to stay in that classroom until your teacher dismisses you. So that culture is very alive and well, unfortunately, in the film industry. And as we're getting more intimacy coordinators, I'm hoping that there's also like boundary coordinators. And it's probably like the union itself to make sure that there's adequate time off and not pressure about like making your body crazy. Claire 510 says, I always wonder if they gave her and Fran the same haircut on purpose. That feels like something Lena would do and find funny. Yes, when she had the same haircut as Fran, that was wild. I love it so much. I dislike this face the most, says someone else. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I'm not here to like say whether I liked or didn't like someone else's haircut, but I like the psychology comparison between like why, you know, why did she show cutting a lot of hair? I feel like when I see typical sitcoms, in between a season, you'll see, you know, someone's hair go from really long to really short, and you're like, whoa, new season. But we don't see hair chops in the middle of the season, which I don't know if that was intentional, but just another reason why the show is so awesome, that not only do you not see haircuts in the middle of seasons, but you don't see the person giving her own haircut and then living with it for the remainder of the season, and so on. Diet Coke Girl says, your frontal lobe is still growing until 25, so young people make bad decisions. 4 scissors emojis. And I completely agree with that one. And there are plenty more fan theories just like this where this came from. So go ahead and hit that next video and let's continue the conversation there. Bye.